Welcome back to the Night Gambit TV. If you love aggressive chess, grandmaster fireworks, and deep game analysis, hit that subscribe button right now. Today, we have an absolute masterpiece from round 2 of the Quantbox Chennai Grandmasters 2026 featuring two 2750-plus rated titans. Nodirbek Abdusattorov playing white against Arjun Erigaisi playing black. Let's jump straight onto the board. Let's go to the part 1. Move 1. White opens with pawn to e4. Black responds solid with pawn to e5. Move 2. White develops the knight, knight to f3. Black defends with knight to c6. Move 3. White plays bishop to b5, entering the famous Ruy Lopez Spanish opening. Black plays pawn to a6, challenging the bishop. Move 4. White retreats bishop to a4. Black brings out the dark squared bishop, bishop to e7. Move 5. White plays pawn to d3. An early deviation instead of castling kingside, keeping central flexibility. Black strikes immediately with pawn to d6. Move 6. White shores up the center with pawn to c3. Black plays an aggressive flank expansion, pawn to f5. Move 7. White repositions the light-squared bishop with bishop to b3. Black grabs more kingside space with pawn to h5. Move 8. White plays pawn to a4, opening space on the queen side. Black responds with bishop to f6, strengthening the central pawn structure. Go to the part 2. Middle game tension and kingside expansion, moves 9 to 15. Flank attacks take over. Notice how neither king has castled yet. Both grandmasters are holding back their kings while building high-voltage pawn pushes on the flanks. Move 9. White develops knight to a3. Black brings out the queen, queen to e7. Move 10. White routes the knight toward the center with knight to c4. Black locks the center with pawn to f4. Move 11. White tries to undermine black's pawn chain with pawn to g3. But Arjun launches a counterstrike. Pawn to g5. The board is officially on fire. Move 12. White counterattacks with pawn to h4. Black pins white's knight with bishop to g4. Move 13. White steps out of the pin with queen to e2. Black castles long. Rook to d8, queenside castling. Move 14. White develops bishop to d2. Black brings out the knight, knight to h6. Move 15. White captures pawn takes pawn on g5. Black recaptures with bishop takes pawn on g5. Let's go to the part 3, tactical explosion and the double sacrifice. Moves 16 to 23. The peak moment of the game. Pay close attention right here. White castles queenside, and black unleashes one of the most stunning tactical blows of the tournament. Move 16. White castles queenside with rook to d1, king to c1, rook to d1. Black plays rook from d8 to f8. Move 17. White shifts the rook with rook to f1. Black moves rook from f8 to f7, preparing to double rooks. Move 18. White opens lines with pawn takes pawn on f4. Black recaptures with bishop takes pawn on f4. Move 19. White jumps into a monster outpost with knight to e3. Boom. Collision. Arjun Erigaisi plays the move of the game. 19. Bishop takes knight on e3. Arjun sacrifices his dark-squared bishop to shatter white's central pawn structure. White is forced to recapture. Move 20. White plays pawn takes bishop on e3. Black immediately stacks pressure with rook from f7 to f6. Move 21. White shifts the queen with queen to g2. Black jumps forward with knight to a5, attacking the light-squared bishop. Move 22. White steps back with bishop to d5. Black targets the white queen with queen to e8. Move 23. White counterattacks on the queen side with pawn to b4, forcing black's knight to retreat to knight to c6. Let's go to the part 4. The tactical counter siege moves 24 to 33. Precision defense and flank counterattacks. Abdusattorov tries to consolidate his position, but Arjun keeps forcing tactical responses. Move 24. White brings out the dark-squared bishop, bishop to e1. Black doubles up heavy artillery with rook from h8 to f8. Move 25. White jumps knight to g5. Black responds with knight to e7, offering to trade off white's active bishop. Move 26. White retreats bishop to b3. Black attacks white's pawn chain with bishop to d7. Move 27. White jumps knight to h7. Black trades rooks. Rook takes rook on f1. Move 28. White recaptures with rook, takes rook on f1. Black responds with rook, takes rook on f1. Move 29. White recaptures with queen takes rook on f1. Black jumps knight to g4, targeting the white king position. Move 30. White plays bishop to h4. Black pushes the center with pawn to d5. Move 31. White reroutes bishop to g5. Black opens lines with pawn takes pawn on e4. Move 32. White recaptures pawn takes pawn on e4. Black safely steps away with king to b8. Move 33. White attacks the queen with bishop to f7. Let's go to the part 5. Part 5. The perpetual check draw moves 34 to 43. The tactical draw finish. Now, watch how Arjun Erigaisi turns the tables into a forced repetition sequence to secure a textbook draw against the former world rapid champion. Move 34. Black activates the queen with queen to h8, threatening the white knight. White responds with knight to f6. Move 35. Black grabs material with bishop takes pawn on a4. White captures back with knight, takes knight on g4. Move 36. Black captures back with pawn takes knight on g4. White captures with bishop takes knight on e7. Move 37. Black invades white's second rank with queen to h2. White plays queen to d3, offering a last-ditch defense. Move 38. Black checks with queen to g1+. White steps away with king to b2. Move 39. Black continues checking with queen to f2+. White steps to king to a1. Move 40. Black checks again with queen to e1+. White moves back to king to b2. Move 41. Black checks with queen to f2+. White moves to king to a1. Move 42. Black checks with queen to g1+. White steps back to king to b2. Move 43. Black plays queen to f2+. Result: draw by threefold repetition, 1/2, 1/2. What an unbelievable high-level chess game from start to finish. Arjun's brilliant bishop sacrifice on move 19 led to a fascinating tactical dynamic, and Abdusattorov's resilient defense kept the balance until perpetual check sealed the draw. If you enjoyed this move-by-move Grandmaster breakdown on the Night Gambit TV, hit that like button, drop a comment down below telling us your favorite move, and subscribe for daily high-level chess content. See you in the next analysis. Thank you. God bless everyone.